Happy Tuesday. I'm late. I apologize. I knew I was going to be a little bit late. I didn't think I was going to be this much late. Hey again, just in case, because Facebook's funky like that. Happy Tuesday. How are you? How are you, friends? All right, so just a reminder that I go live every Tuesday in this group around 2 o'clock. I try and make it close to 2. Um, it's usually right around 2 o'clock. And it's Tuesday Tales. And I'm going to give you a quick 20-minute training. And you can check out the featured section of this group. If you're looking at it on your mobile device, you might need to go to the top of the group. And there's like these little tabs across the top. There's one that says featured. There's upcoming events there. You can also go to the next tab that says events and just check out the events there. You can RSVP to those, add them to your calendars, because we do a monthly full moon card pull and a monthly intuitive healing session that's usually around the new moon. And then we have these every week, Tuesday Tales, with some rare exceptions where there's holidays and whatnot that fall on Tuesdays, and we don't need to go there. Anyway, welcome to Tuesday Tales. Hi, how are ya? So last week we talked about believing that it was possible to know what our horses need and desire from us so that we can actually fulfill those needs and desires. And I kind of hinted at it yesterday with my post about, well, step 2 then is then establishing this gap. The gap between the person you are today and the person that knows what their horse needs and desires and believes that they have that knowledge and then creates the situation that their horse prefers the most, that is the most optimal for their horse. So let's dive into that step, shall we? Now, I have 20 minutes. This is not something that we're going to spend a ton of time on. 20 minutes. And it's not going to go into how to do massage techniques, how to prepare rehab programs, how to actually address some of the problems that your horse might bring to you, how to know what about the saddle is the problem, how to know what about the bridle is the problem. I'm not getting into all of that. I'm also not getting into the energy work portion of this, muscle testing and all that. There's other videos on that. You can check those out. And also, Equine Alchemy is coming up in just a couple weeks. We're starting Equine Alchemy, Awakening Your Inner Magic, which is going to delve into all of the depth necessary so that you can walk across this bridge. So that you can walk from the person that you are today to the person that you need to be the best person for your horse, to know what they need and what their desires are, and to best fulfill them within the context of that program, right? That program is not going to cover massage techniques either because we don't have enough time for that. That is all about the connection. That's about creating the connection, establishing that connection between you and your horse so that you know what their needs and desires are. Taking action on those is going to be outside of that scope. But so what is it going to take to really establish this gap? To know, we can sit here and be like, well, I'm not an animal communicator. So that's not going to work. But I'm also talking about the little things, okay? So I had a call with one of my mentors, coaches today before I came here, which is why I was late. And it was fantastic. And I cried. And I go through a lot of stuff on my own. In terms of like mindset work. I'm in a mindset program. We meet once a week in there, and there's daily touch points. But the weekly calls really just get you thinking, and yes, absolutely make shifts. But the call from 2 weeks ago, because I didn't watch last week's call until today. Last week was crazy. Anyway, the call from 2 weeks ago was around fear, as was last week's call, was just a little bit deeper, right? And it was talking about identifying what's your biggest fear. What's the thing that you are most scared of in this life? And nothing really came to mind at first. Like, I know it's there, right? Like, I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of this. Like, I don't like rejection. I mean, nobody does, right? But like that feels like a big one to me. Abandonment feels like a big one to me, but I don't think those are it, right? And so someone else walked through their biggest fear, their fear of dying alone, and I was like, oh, this is really good. This makes a lot of sense, but it just hadn't hit my thing. It hadn't hit any chords for me. And I woke up from a dream the other night, and I don't remember the dream, but the thought that I remember from waking up was actually that I'm most afraid that the people closest to me don't actually love me, that they're not being honest, that they don't actually like me. Imagine how this plays out when I try and put myself out on the internet. Because it's not just about the people closest to me, right? Then there's also doubts about the people not as close, but still there. So that was a big one. It felt really big. I've thought about it, processed it a lot more, talked about it a little bit more, whatever. So it's easy. It's easier for me to share that with you guys here right now. Vulnerability. It's fun. But on this call with my mentor, she's helping me because I'm like, the gap is not just a gap, okay? It's not a little gap. Like, it's a canyon from the person I am today to the person that I want to be. It doesn't always feel like a canyon. It feels like a canyon today. Because the person that I want to be just seems like she's got all her shit under control. Like, she's super healthy, she's super fit, she has a thriving business, she has a ton of fun in her life, she travels, and I'm over here like, pass the cookies. Pass the cookies, we're staying home for Christmas. So there's a huge gap there. And what happened in this call was she helped me to see that the reason it feels like a canyon today, which I already knew, right? Like, I knew, but hearing someone else say it because someone else sees it sometimes makes all the difference in the world. And it did today, because what she identified, and I was like, shit, she like totally confirmed what I was already feeling, was really that I've done a really great job connecting with myself, but I get to give myself the opportunity to connect with others. And I don't mean like this. I could connect with you horse girls all day. But entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, getting myself in that place where I get to hang out more with my pony friends, not my pony friends like you guys, but unicorn pony friends, unicorn entrepreneurs from all over the country that I do have friends with, but we don't see each other. Like, we literally get together once a year. And so she's like, getting into a container where everybody's there all the time, that would help. Whatever. Totally agree, 100%. Obviously, it was a lot more in depth because I'm not giving you the play-by-play because we only have 20 minutes today. The point is that sometimes identifying those things, first of all, they're not as bad as we think they are. Okay? Like, oh no, I have to hang out with my unicorn friends. But the challenging part about that is that hanging out with them is through a container that is going to allow me to grow. Why is that scary? Because growth means change. What is change? Change is scary as fuck because it's taking us into the unknown. It literally, becoming someone new is facing our fear of death in like the figurative sense of, you have to let the old version of you go to become the new version. So when we're sitting here and we're talking about, I want to be the person that my horse needs me to be, I want to know what their needs and desires are, but do you really? Because the person that your horse needs you to be is someone who is radically responsible and honest with themselves about their limitations and about the places where they could grow. So it's super easy to sit here in this Facebook group, listen to me yap, and be like, yeah, I want that. Yeah, I want that. It is a completely different thing to be willing to be honest and open enough with yourself, with your horse, and with anybody else involved, and say, one of the things that is part of that gap is me losing 100 pounds. That's part of the gap. And it's not even about losing the weight. Like, honestly, it's not. It's not about losing the weight. It's about the person that is lighter, because it's not about the number. Because this is one thing I know too, like, as I got older, so I've always been an athletic person. And in high school, I weighed like 135 pounds. And my husband still argues with me to this day that I never weighed anything more than 115. And I'm like, you are out of your fucking mind. I'm glad that I look smaller than I was. But no, I was never less than 135 pounds. I had muscle. I was a strong girl. I played rugby, for fuck's sake. Played rugby, rode horses. There was nothing 115 pounds about this. Okay. And then after I had my daughter, 155 pounds started looking like that 135 pounds. And it wasn't because I was fat, it was just weight distributed differently, right? So it's not even about, like, I don't necessarily think that we need to put a number on a weight loss. I just know that I have extra weight to lose. And it's not about the weight, it's about the ability to use my body. Okay? And sometimes we have to be that brutally honest and radically responsible to say, I know this is an uncomfortable truth. I know this doesn't sound like fun. I know that it's scary. I know that putting the responsibility back on myself is not always a fun thing to do. So, whatever your limitations are, that I'm asking you all to step up. I'm asking everybody in this group to step up, regardless of whether you choose to join us for Equine Alchemy. I mean, I hope you do, because it's going to be amazeballs, or not. I invite you to step up, to recognize that you are in complete control, that you have the ability to choose to make a change in yourself that is going to ripple out and impact everyone around you. Your horse is 100% included in that, everyone. And it's not just because they won't have to carry as much weight if I lose it. It's not that. It's I then have more energy. I then am more flexible. I then am also a more clear and open channel for communication because there's less of my energy that is wound up in my own bullshit. There's less of my emotional baggage dragging me down because that is part of what weight gain is. Being overweight can 100% be emotional and energetic. You may have heard people say that gaining weight is a way of self-protection. There are women out there who have been assaulted that will gain weight to feel safe because no man will assault a fat woman, which is bullshit anyways. But I mean, logically, if we follow the logic trail, that can make sense, right? So what is it for you? Maybe it's not your weight, but maybe there's something else in your life that's keeping you from the barn or keeping you from being your best self, because recognize that the only way you can have an optimal connection with your horse is if you are an optimal version of yourself. It all starts with you. It sucks, but it's also great because it gives you the ultimate control of the situation. You know, it sucks in the fact that we're like, oh, I have this responsibility and it's on me and I have to deal with my emotional shit that I've been doing a great job of avoiding. I'm going to use my favorite phrase, ask me how I know. You know, but that's what makes me uniquely qualified to take your hand and walk alongside you on this journey, because I know what that's like. And I also know that it is extremely motivating to do these things for our horses. And then we benefit 100% because we had to become better people in order to help our horses. So, I'm going to default to a story. I know that I have my own story about this in my journey as well, but I really enjoy, if you have not yet listened to Better for Yourself, Better for Your Horse, the podcast episode that was all about Leanne's journey from the time that I met her until now, being certified and all the things. I encourage you to check that out. I'm going to give you a small excerpt from my perspective, not hers, because that's all I can do is regurgitate the story. You know, and it was a powerful connection point for Leanne and I, was her telling the story about what it was like to realize that she didn't have a horse problem or a training problem. She had a her problem. She had her own stuff she had to work through in order to be the better person for her horse. And for her, that realization came when her horse finally took off and drug her. She was lunging on a muddy day. Her boots were heavy. It was hard to run to keep up with him as he was running away. And he drug her face down through the mud. And I think that is a really good metaphor. Sorry you had to go through that, but also it created the change, right? And I think that's just a really good metaphor, because a lot of times we avoid change unless someone drags us through it. And who better to allow us to be dragged through by than our horses? And our faces were already in the mud. They were already in the mud, because if Leanne's face wasn't figuratively in the mud, her horse never would have drug her, right? Like, we do a really good job of hiding our emotional distress, hiding our baggage, hiding what the real problems are. I mean, that's what self-sabotage is creating the problems ourselves. We do that really well. And our horses call it out in us. And if we are not willing to bravely stand up, dust ourselves off, and say, I have a me problem and I'm ready to change it so that you don't run away from me anymore, so that we can have a better communication. Um, I mean, to me, that's super powerful. I mean, one, for communication with our horse, but also for ourselves. And so tying it back around to me and my journey, I mean, this was a big deal with me in business in the very beginning I mean, not the very beginning, because let's be honest, I've been trying to do some kind of entrepreneurial venture since I was 18. I was never made for a workforce. So when I think back to 2021, like I had been trying a lot of things before that, but nothing had really hit me the same way that working with this coach has. Oh, I didn't realize I was unplugged. And so when I started working with her, she challenged everything about my beliefs, which was super important. Super important. Because so many of my beliefs were false. You know, I believed that I needed more time. I believed that I needed more money. I believed that I needed more of anything that I already didn't have. And part of that belief system, I mean, it was keeping me safe, right? It was keeping me in this space of I lived through it, because that is our brain's biggest job, is to keep us surviving through today to get to tomorrow. And we have to be the ones to challenge that and and make an actual conscious logical decision about what is safe and what isn't safe. It is safe for me to change. It is safe for me to change. It is safe for me to change tomorrow. It is safe for me to change right now in an instant. It is safe for me to do those things to become the person that I want to be, the person that my horse needs me to be. And when I finally made that decision, I mean, I didn't even have a personal horse at that time, but it made me a better person for my client horses, because one of the things that happened right in the beginning, um, I was challenged with a horse early on that just had a lot going on. And I was really frustrated because I went into my the group that comes with, okay, so the program that I went to, I don't talk about it anymore. One, because I offer my own certification program. I mean, if I talk to somebody and I think that they were way better suited to my program that I graduated from, I would send them there. Um, I absolutely would, because if you're better suited, I don't want you in my program if I can't serve you 100% awesome best. But I don't talk about it as much anymore because I created my own program because there were a lot of faults. And one of the faults was their lifetime mentoring thing. I remember having this challenging case and going to the mentoring group and posting the question and being like, I don't know, this isn't working. What should I do? Am I doing okay? What's going on? And all I got told was, go do what you're supposed to do. End of story. And I kept seeing other people get that too. But I didn't think anything of it at the time. And now I'm like, that's not helpful. It wasn't helpful to me. It just made me feel like more of, oh shit, I don't know if this is working, and all this self-doubt, questioning, and and what I learned was, as I started to become the person that I wanted to be, even in my business, like in my business, from like the actual like business admin, how to market, how to be strategic, how to plan, all of that, not necessarily how to actually deliver, how to actually massage, how to actually get results, not like that. They did go together. I was learning entrepreneurial systems, marketing, strategic planning, and I was learning those things. And by learning those things and becoming the person I wanted to be in that area, I also became the person I wanted to be in delivery, and in becoming the person that I wanted to be as a sports massage therapist. And all of that stems from belief, which was why that is step one of this process. But once you have belief, you then have to follow it through and recognize that there are some beliefs that you carry that are not serving you anymore. And that is a big part of the process, is allowing ourselves to really take off those layers and sort through them and be like, serve, limit, which do I, does it serve me more or limit me more? Am I safe? And this is just a decision. It's not an actual question that has a yes or no answer. Okay. Like, it is a yes or no answer, but you determine it. It's nobody else can tell you. Does it feel safe? Is it safe to actually follow this path and get rid of this belief or transform this belief? It doesn't have to be a get rid of. It can just be a alchemization, because that's what alchemy is. It is transformation. And we are very blessed and very lucky to have horses to help us be a part of that transformation. So anyways, I have yacked for 20 minutes. This is your reminder that Equine Alchemy starts on December 17th. You can grab your ticket now for just $197. Okay, it's $197 for Cyber Week. The standard pricing is $297. We have 2 weeks together. Opening ceremony, closing ceremony. Become the person that your horse needs you to be, so that you can know what they truly need and what they truly desire. I'm going to pop that link in the comments for you guys. Otherwise, I'm out. I will talk with you later. Have a very happy Tuesday. Catch you next time. Do fun pony shit, and I'll catch you next time.